not a Monday, but welcome back. Or if you're new here, hi. This is my channel. I talk a lot about manga, and if that interests you, please do hit the subscribe button. It would mean so much to me if you did. And if you like the video, you like yuri manga, if you want to hear me talk more about yuri manga in the future, smash the thumbs up button so that I know you like the video. And one last thing, I'm gonna do a huge spoiler warning. I'm gonna try not to give everything away and go into too many details, but I am talking about the complete series, and so the things that I really liked or the things I really didn't like are bound to come up, and if they happen later on in the story, I just want to apologize in advance. I'll try to like pop a little spoiler warning incoming or like skip to this if you don't want to hear it, but it'll be kind of hard to avoid all of them is what I want to say. So hopefully you're okay with that, and if not, I totally understand. And I'll hopefully see you for another video, like my haul video on Monday. And with that, yeah, I'm just going to be talking about the 3 complete series of yuri that I read. There's like a little asterisk next to one because I don't really feel like it is a yuri per se, but I'll get to that when I get to that series. So yeah, let's just start with the first one I read. This would, I guess, technically be like, what day did I leave off on the last video? Oh, if you haven't watched that video and you want more yuri manga recommendations, check that video out. I posted on Monday, but yeah, whichever it was, day 4 or day 5 that I left off on, I read Girlfriends. So this one, I was torn between this one and Citrus because they're both older, like considered more of like a classic yuri, I guess, like ones I'd heard about for a long time and was curious about, but this one was complete in just 2 of these omnibuses. You know, they're thick, but that's not too bad, you know, for the bank or for my time, you know, to be spent reading a series, where Citrus I think is at least 6 volumes, and then there's also like a continuation of like Citrus, whatever, I don't know. Anyway, I just went with this one, yeah. So the premise of this series is pretty straightforward, classic standard shoujo-esque vibes, and that we have a bookish, more quiet student, Kumakura, and one day she is approached by the gorgeous, stylish, and outgoing Ohashi. So this begins their friendship, kind of gets Kumakura out of her shell, and begins a process of transforming her from a plain Jane type girl into one of the more cute and popular girls in school, until Kumakura realizes she's developing feelings for her friend that go a bit beyond friendship, and worries that these budding feelings of hers will inevitably ruin their lovely friendship. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit, like I said, shoujo-y, trope-y in the sense of early 2000s vibes. Like, you know, the plain Jane aspect, the outgoing girl befriends the shy, timid girl, or in shoujo's case, the outgoing popular guy befriends the shy, timid girl. See numerous examples of that. So it's a narrative I'm quite familiar with, and I didn't hate it. Like, if anything, it kind of took me back to those early 2000s of when I was younger and more impressionable. And I will say there is a lot of talk about weight loss, diets, crash course diets, which aren't good for you, not healthy, and all that stuff that was like, I'm sure it's still around today with young girls and, you know, even girls my age, but it's definitely running rampant in that early 2000s era where everyone just like needed to be skinny. Like, skinny was the only like okay way to be. I hope we've moved past that a little bit. I've seen things where we're backtracking, but anyway, the point is, I didn't really like reading about that, but in the same vein, I liked how it was handled because it does seem like something that is kind of sadly a part of many high school girls' lives. And by the end of it, though they do these diets and they talk about the weight a lot and stuff, by the end, without, you know, giving too much away, I think, one of them decides to go into the field of nutrition and becoming a nutritionalist. And thanks in large part because of these crash diets and because she doesn't want that to be their lifestyle anymore, wants to find a healthier alternative. So while they didn't like dive into that, you know, actually like the nutrition part and like healthy weight loss and you know, that kind of stuff, at least they recognized how harmful and bad it was. And yeah, so that was probably like the weakest like aspect of this series that I didn't like. Otherwise, I thought their friendship to leveling up that friendship, so to speak, was done pretty well. You know, I got the little bit of angst. I got the cute friendship moments, the cute more than friendship moments, but pretty PG. So yeah, overall, I, you know, didn't struggle to read this. It was an easy read, it was fine read, but I wouldn't say I loved it. I would give this one probably a 7 out of 10. Both volumes were equally okay. I think I like the second one a little bit more, but like it evens out to about 7 out of 10. Average read, okay read. You know, if you want a classic early 2000s cuteness of Yuri, then pick this one up. Otherwise, I think you can pass on it. Like, I've definitely started series I liked a lot better than this one, so I'm hopeful that I found more that I like than these. So yeah, that's my overall feelings. If you have read this one or if you've read Citrus, let me know what you've thought of either of these more classic older Yuris, because yeah, I think it is fun, like sometimes to dive back into time and read what was coming out then. It's like a little time machine, yeah, for better or worse. All right, next up we have one featuring some older girls, which is why I picked it up, and that is After Hours. We have Emmy here, who is 24, and she is struggling being unemployed and not really sure what she wants to do with her life when she meets Kay, who is, I believe, 30. And so I love a little age gap, like adult age gap romance. That's cute. And Kay is a DJ and she really likes the night scene, and she ends up kind of pulling Emmy into that, and Emmy ends up really liking it. She ends up VJing for Kay, which, as someone who has only, you know, partied occasionally, I didn't know what a VJ was. So apparently, like, to accompany the music, a lot of times they have like a visual DJ of sorts, and so they like pick the images to be projected that kind of correspond with the music, give you that heightened experience of visual plus auditory. I don't know, it sounds really interesting. I need to go to like more clubs and raves. Apparently that's that's what I got from this series. But okay, let's talk about the things I wasn't super duper fond of with this series. So the first volume started off kind of weak. They kind of hit it off really quickly, hook up really quickly, and it's kind of like a whirlwind. Lust seems to quickly develop into real feelings. However, there's two things. One is that May actually has a boyfriend that she lives with. She doesn't tell Kay, she doesn't tell this boyfriend, she doesn't break up with this boyfriend for, you know, until the second volume. And I find it like, okay, being a human, one that makes mistakes, one that, you know, I'm living in the real world here. I totally can understand if she was originally very unhappy in her life and not really in a happy place in a relationship either, that she could have a little fun experiment time with Kay for one night and then go and break up with her boyfriend. But no, it seems to take days, weeks, if not longer. And in the meantime, she's spending most every day and night, it seems, with Kay. So I just don't really, I don't like that. I'm sorry. Like, you are not a good person to me if you continuously keep doing this. Like, no, not here for it. So it was really hard to root for May. So I'm sorry if that spoils anything for this series, but I can't talk about it without being like, I just really don't like that about her. The other thing is, this series is complete at 3 volumes. So while it does take May a while to break up with her boyfriend and fully commit to Kay, which, you know, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, right? I'll give her a pass. And volume 2, they are deciding to put on this big rave in a warehouse, and it's like this big event, and she's, you know, they're both getting really into it. I actually honestly was liking it more by volume 2, despite the cheating shit, okay? But then we get to volume 3, and it starts off great. We actually see how the rave comes together. Great, I love it, I love it. Oh, and then Kay disappears. She just disappears. So I didn't like May before because of the cheating shit. Kay is a fucking child. Okay, she's 30 years old and she just fucking disappears. Like, it comes out that there are reasons for her to disappear, but you are a grown-ass woman, bitch. Grown-ass woman. You don't just disappear. Like, tell your live-in fucking girlfriend, if no one else. Like, what the fuck is wrong with her? Oh my god, I had so many issues with this volume and how it ends as a whole. I was really disappointed. I'm just gonna say it. I was really disappointed with this turn. It happens like halfway through this volume, and it's so jarring, and it's resolved so weirdly. Actually, I should say resolved in quotations, because nothing actually does get resolved. I'm terribly spoiling everything, and yeah, I'm sorry, but I just really felt disappointed, especially like the fact that I wasn't super on board with the first volume because of the cheating and the way they get together, kind of rushed and weird feeling. But then it settles in the second volume. I'm dinging it by the third volume's beginning, and then they do this freaking 180-degree turn and yank me this way, and I'm just not having it. I'm not having it. I'm sorry. So I would give this series like a 5 out of 10. Yeah. I'm not happy with it, if you couldn't tell. Yeah. It's 3 volumes of disappointment, and just, yeah. I don't know. Let me know if you have read it and you really did like it, because I'd like to see someone else's perspective and like maybe the reasons why they liked it, because I just can't. And if you read it and didn't like it like me, we can commiserate in the comments below as well. It just frustrated me. Okay, deep breaths, cleansing breaths. All right, moving on from that disappointment, I actually read my most favorite series, the series that I just really enjoyed. I think is really good. I would highly recommend, but I don't necessarily feel like it is a quote-unquote yuri. Why am I saying that? Not because there's not girls crushing on girls, because there's a hell of a lot of girls crushing on girls. But it feels more in the vein of like Blue Flag or Our Dreams at Dusk or Oh Maidens in Our Savage Season. The list goes on. What I'm trying to say is if you've read any of those, you'll kind of understand what I mean, that it doesn't really fit into one specific type of story. It's more of a coming of age story for a group of young kids. And as such, though there are, you know, feelings and crushes and, you know, love for women, there's also a multitude of other feelings and other self-discoveries and moments. So yeah, just know that going into this one, that like it's not gonna give you that yuriness. So I feel like I'm cheating you all on this one, but I still really, really loved it. I love me a good coming of age story, so I could be biased, but it was a really nice read. And that is Nameless Asterism. So I did actually look up what asterism is, because although I automatically felt like it had something to do with astrology, because it sounds like it, because stars and astrology do play a role in this story. One of the girls is really into it, and it's kind of a theme that ties through the whole story. So yeah, it does mean a group or constellation of stars, or it means 3 apostrophes, which both were like, oh, this is beautiful, because actually their 3 names references the summer triangle, which is a group of 3 stars that apparently has something to do with summer. Like it must be most visible in summer, or they align in summer. I don't know astrology that well, just FYI. But their names actually correspond to this constellation, and the fact that like the 3 asterisks and the trio, like it's just cute. Like I was like, oh my god, so much thought was put into just this title, and I love that little flair. But anyway, this is a 5-volume series, so it's complete at 5 volumes. And do I think it could have gone on for like 8, 10, maybe even 13 volumes? Yeah, I feel like it had enough that is there, and also enough that came up that really wasn't resolved by the end, that could have been delved into, or just have other situations come up. Yeah, I could have read about these kids for a while is what I'm saying. Like they were just a really interesting group. And yeah, so to begin with, we have a love triangle, and it's a love triangle between these friends. And so there's a lot of angst, and I love me a good angsty series, so that's another reason I liked it. But there's so much like angst over keeping secrets, over my feelings not being requited, over like wanting to keep their friendship together, but also wanting their feelings to be requited, you know, like as you do when you're young and you're crushing on someone, you know. You want to tell them, but when they're your friend, it is a greater risk, and especially when you find out that that crush is crushing on your other friend. Oh, so harsh. So we have the 3 girls, Shiratori, Washio, and Kotuka. So they are an inseparable trio since they started junior high. However, Shiratori has a secret, and that's that she has a huge crush on Washio. So Shiratori crushing on Washio. However, she soon finds out Washio is crushing hard on Kotuka. So yeah, messy love triangle. We find out later there's another like 5 elements to this love triangle, but I don't want to spoil this one, especially because I do want people to read it. But yes, so I will introduce 2 more points to this confusing dichotomy of theirs, which is the introduction of these 2 boys. Subaru is actually Shiratori's twin brother, and his character is really interesting. He is actually very much against Shiratori, like having crushes, having relationships, and like people joke and like call it a sister complex and stuff, and at times he does like give into that as being like what it is, but it's more complicated and nuanced than that. He doesn't understand crushes and romance and love like sexual way of love, you know, he familial love, friendship love he gets, but he doesn't understand why people want to go out with each other. He thinks it's gross and creepy, and he just wants everyone to stay just being friends and not worrying about that complicated love shit, you know? And I think his character is really interesting. In the end, in the mangaka's notes, they actually wrote that they wanted Subaru to be the one who didn't want change the most, who actually ends up changing the most. And I think they accomplished that. Like, I think that is what the character does, is he actually does change, even though he's so resistant to change. But it's, yeah, again, we could have had so many more volumes with these characters because I love them. And then we are introduced to Asakura. Asakura goes to Subaru's school, but he doesn't know Subaru. He just ends up getting a huge crush on Shiratori. So it's kind of one of those things where you're like, yeah, why are you crushing on her? You barely know her. You've just like run into her a little bit, and like she doesn't even like remember him. So it's like very one-sided. But that kind of brings things boiling because we have all these secret crushes, and then the added drama of this boy, and and then at the same time, Subaru actually ends up in the same committee as Asakura. And he really doesn't like Asakura because he's, you know, trying to get his sister, and he, like I said, doesn't want change, doesn't understand love and the obsession with it. And so he's just like, no, get away from her, get away. But they actually strike up an unlikely friendship over Sentai, what's it called? Sentai Rangers? I don't know, it gave me very strong Power Ranger vibes. And so I just like, I think it's really cute. It shows Asakura's nerdy side, and it's like almost impossible for Subaru to remain like antagonistic with him because they have this like bonding thing. And then I'm just gonna say this, Asakura starts finding him cute, okay? I ship him. I ship him. I can't. Anyway. Moving on, the main trio gets delved into more. Their personalities come out of Washio and Kotuka. So like a lot of the first two I felt was about Shiratori, Asakura's crush on Shiratori, her crush on Washio, and what was gonna like happen with that whole thing. And then once that kind of gets settled, at least more settled, then it goes back to focusing more on them again. And it's really good. Again, angst and pining and longing and complicated feelings and puberty. Damn, it's a bitch. And it all comes to a head in volume 5. Like I said, I could have had another 5 volumes of this and I would have been happy. I don't know if the mangaka's original plan for the ending was to be kind of open-ended and not resolve a lot of things, or if they were rushed and they just decided to go with that. I think it honestly works. Does it bug me a bit that certain plot lines and things like Subaru ends up lying to Asakura about something pretty intense, like, you know, and Asakura doesn't find out by the end, but presumably he would find out eventually. And like, how does that play out? And you know, like, I'd love to see it, but at the same time, like, I also appreciate just this like little glimpse into their lives, their struggles, and I'm okay with it being open-ended and not resolving most of the issues and the things that are brought up throughout this series. But yeah, even though all of these like complicated issues aren't really resolved, I feel like the main thing is that they know that they can keep struggling, keep fighting, keep being friends with each other through thick and thin. And that's the real takeaway, and that's like the heart of this story is friendship. And as someone who really didn't make genuine friendships in school, this it makes me so happy for them and yet so hurt at the same time, because I want what they have. Not like the crushing on each other part, that's complicated, but like that genuine like care. And I think it's interesting because they are such different personalities, the 3 girls. And so I feel like you can find one that more matches your personality or you can more relate to as a reader. And it's also equally wonderful to see their different personalities and them being able to still connect with each other and stay friends and be stronger for their fights and their flaws. And things could have been improved upon or like fleshed out even more, but like I said, I still really like what we got. I still think it's really just super solid, super cute, super angsty. The art's really nice. Like, I have nothing bad to say about this, okay? I give every freaking volume a 5-star. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Yeah, that's all. That's it. I love this series. I think it's super underrated because I heard nothing about this before. I just picked it up on a whim. And yeah, I think if you like coming of age stories, if you like ensemble casts, if you like stories that are character driven and really delve into, you know, those feelings of unrequited love, crushes, and friendship, and themes like those, that you'll really enjoy this series too. At least I hope you will. And of course, if you have read it, please, please, please comment below, because I don't know if I've talked to anyone who's also read this series, or have talked to anyone since I've read the series at least. So yeah, drop it below what you thought of it. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully we can talk about how much we liked it together. So I know I blabbed on and on about especially Nameless Asterism because I loved it so much. So this outro will be short and sweet. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching. I hope to see you for my haul video on Monday, 1st of July. And I also am going to be participating in a live that Monday night. I will update you on all the details on the community board, so keep your eyes on that. If you are at all curious, we're just going to be talking about the LGBT manga readathon, all of the yuri, yaoi, and everything that we read for Pride Month. So yeah, if you're interested in that, I hope you will join us. I'm doing it with a couple manga tuber, manga friend people. So yeah, and I think it'll be a fun time. I've never done a live before, so I'm extremely nervous, but I know that they're really chill people, so it should be a fun time. So yeah. Well, anyway, until next time, bye!